Alright guys, we're back again with another one. Today I want to talk about how in the self-improvement space and the YouTube content creation scene is there's a lot of guys out there following these creators, these red pill creators, these self-improvement YouTubers, following off a cliff completely. Everything they say, they believe. They don't have you end up getting consumed by their content, and then their own critical thinking will go out the window completely, and they'll just follow everything that they've said, believe it all, and a lot of it is complete rubbish. Some of the stuff they push and they tell, the views they have, you can listen to someone about business and YouTube and money and stuff if that's their niche, and then they'll also talk about dating and then some of the advice would be shocking. And you're seeing loads of versions of people be just small versions of the creator they're watching. They believe that they put them on a pedestal and worship them and put them as up there as like a god that they need to follow. And it's like, and then their communities, their online communities that they build, become just like a cult where people will just be small little mini versions of that person, trying to copy them exactly the way they are, and the individuality is gone. And that's what makes us who we are. That's what makes you the person you are, is being yourself and having your own values and morals, and not just bending to someone else's because you believe they're right. They might flash some stuff, have money and have the stuff you want, but we're different people. You can't just follow these people off a cliff, and then if you do, it'll be your downfall. I did this when I first got into the space. You look for the alternative side because the mainstream's all a lie. You figure that out, and then you find another angle, and that's normally the red pill space, the self-improvement space. And it's the first time you've heard this stuff being said, it resonates with you, and then they become almost like a hero to you, someone you idolize, and then you just end up, if you don't have the ability to critically think, you'll just end up following them completely for everything they say. And it's a downward slope because a lot of time it goes against the actual person you are. You might not be that way inclined to want to be, to grind 24/7 and to go on all these dates and play this hard game with these women, and that might not be you, but that's what they try and train you to be, because that's how they are. They get views from this stuff because they know it's controversial and they know people will like it, and then you end up forming yourself to be like them, and that's not, the individuality. Like I said, you're destroying that. What makes you yourself? It's just, you're completely getting rid of that, and that's what the space needs. It needs individual characters, not 1,000 people who are exactly the same, with exactly the same beliefs and morals and values and ideas because they watch someone and completely just agree with everything that they say. It takes a stronger man to critically think everything. Take the good from people, sure, by all means. If something makes sense to you and you think it's right and you got an insight from it, then fair enough, then you can then follow that. It makes sense to do that, but don't just follow everything one person says, because no one's right about everything, and they'll make you believe that their word is the only one that matters, because they want you to watch their content and no one else's and pay for their programs. But there's so much more that they don't know, that you're ahead of them in many other areas that they're not. Just because they're successful in business and YouTube and whatever, that doesn't mean they're successful in their dating life, or they might not be close to their family, etc. So take the good and get rid of the bad is what you need to be doing. But I understand where it comes from. It's a people latch onto the hope. The young guys who get into this space, they latch onto the hope that they're desperately trying to find that alternative to the mainstream, because the mainstream, as we know, doesn't work out for us. It makes us weak. It's all a lie. It's propaganda being pushed. There's division in society. We want something else, so we look for something else. Excuse me. we find you know the alternative side on YouTube and on Instagram, wherever you find this content, and then you cling on to it because it's like, wow, the first thing that resonated with me that I've seen, like the first time you see it, that's what you believe. You're like, wow, this is my space, this is where I belong. And it's very easy to get swept up in that, to get caught up in it, because it's the first time you've resonated with someone and you feel like you're part of something, and someone speaks some truth. They catch you in with a bit of truth, and then they'll have some other beliefs about different things that you don't believe in, but then you question it and you think, oh, it must be right because X, Y, and Z said it. But you need to think for yourself, guys. It's critically think, is this person, does this message this person is saying, does it apply to me? Do I believe in this? Does it go with my values and morals? Do I think it's right? Question it, because a lot of the time it might not. And then just because someone said it to you, but respect and trust doesn't make it right. There's a lot to unravel and to unfold. But yeah, it's a mistake I made myself. Like I said, I got into it, watched certain creators, and just completely followed what they thought, and in turn ruined some aspects and areas of my life because of it. You know, like if you go on dates with some girls and stuff, and then you would end up acting the way they tell you to act, and it's not true to yourself. And you wonder, if I was just my authentic self, maybe it probably would have been better. I would have came across more confident, and I would have been true to myself. More importantly, I would have been true to the person I am, and be able to sleep better at night knowing that. And as I've got older, I've learned that. As you mature, you realise being your authentic self is the only thing. It's going to bring you everything you need. Putting on a mask and acting is not going to do that. So you just have to stay true to your own values and morals, and not let anyone mould them or take them away from you. And by all means, you can learn, you can read, you can watch creators and see their insights, and if you believe in it and you get a new insight that makes sense to you, then by all means you can take that and you apply it in your own life. But don't mould and don't bend these content creators because you think that they're right and you're wrong. You know, like, there's so much. It's all exaggerated. That's another thing. A lot of it is exaggerated online. People put their best self out there. They're not raw and authentic. They'll say what they think gets some views and what will make you buy their course, but they don't really have your true interest at heart. They don't have, and they just want to. They want to say what gets you on side, what will get an emotional reaction out of you to follow them and to buy their products and etc. And staying true to yourself, whether that means making your own videos like I am now. That's why I'm doing this, because I've got a few creators I'll follow and I'll watch videos of, but on the whole, I feel like the space needs something different. It needs a more raw and authentic side where people can just be honest and be yourself and put your values and morals out there. And I don't expect everyone to believe everything I say. Of course not. That's not how we are. That wouldn't be a real ideal thing. I wouldn't want people to believe everything I think. I want different people in the world. I want people different characters in your community. You don't want the same person on, copy and pasted. So staying true to your values and morals is the number one message I'm trying to say today. If you like the video, sharing it and liking it will go a long way. And yeah, I'll be back with a lot more coming up, so stay tuned.